Hello, Salwanani Makadini. Today we're going to do a different type of video. Now, we're going to do things that I love about the UK. And I'm going to do like a two-part video, 2 or 3 videos. I'll see how many videos I can do on this topic. And I'm doing this video because I think that people are starting to get a negative connotation of like, people are starting to feel like maybe England is all bad, because on my page there's mostly videos about the challenges of being an immigrant abroad, but there is good things as well. There's a lot of good things, just as there are good and bad things being in Africa, being in Zim. There is good and bad things of being here. My channel has mainly based on the things that people are embarrassed to talk about. So it's been me realizing that if you try and Google the UK, it's people talking about how awesome it is. Our aunties and our uncles don't want to be honest about the struggles that they face being abroad, but it does not mean that there's no good things that are happening. Otherwise we wouldn't be here at the end of the day. So today I'm going to tell you guys some things that I absolutely love about living in the United Kingdom. Let's get to it. This is the authentic channel. This is the channel where we give it raw and we don't act like we're making it. And if that's your type of content, if you want authenticity, this is the channel for you. Now I'm going to try and not give you the generic things that I love about the UK. There's the obvious things: the transport system, the banking system, the fact that water is always available, they do not cut their power, and all of those things. Now those are the sort of the normal things that you will get if you Google nice things about living in the UK. Today I'm going to talk about little quirky things, like little niche things that people don't usually talk about. Okay, the first thing that I love about the UK is the entertainment, in terms of like the shows, like anything that you are in love with, you will get access, like higher access to it. What do I mean by that? Like right now the craze is about Haaland. If I wanted to watch Haaland lives in Manchester, that's an hour away from me. If I want to go, I just buy a ticket, I go and watch Man City live, right? If I've managed to meet James and Fuhad from Sheets and Gigs. They're my absolute idols. I love James and Fuhad, and guess what? I just bought a ticket and I was able to take a picture with them and have a little 3-second conversation with them, which was very inspiring for me. I was able to meet Pete and Luke from Talking Shit. I don't know if guys know these people, but they're from they've got a podcast, and I've seen them grow from being smaller creators and growing to now doing shows all across the country. And I managed to meet them and have a proper conversation with them, and they even invited me to like an after party. I could have gone to that and had a conversation with them, and it's just inspiring for somebody like me who's wanting to be a creator themselves and wanting to have a podcast themselves. Like, if I was in Zim, like even if I had money last week or the week before, I'd gone to see Lewis Capaldi. If I was in Zim, even if I had the money, I just don't have access to Lewis Capaldi. Most of our entertainers and the people that we love don't really come to Zimbabwe. They don't come to Zambia sometimes. Like most of the times, if we're lucky, they'll come to South Africa. But that's as far as they'll go. So like being in the UK has given me access to meeting some of the people that I really love and adore. Like as soon as I get my passport next year, I'm getting my passport. I am getting the plane to the States. I'm going to see some of the people that I absolutely love, my idols: Dave Chappelle, Theo Von. I'm a huge comedy fan, which is why I'm naming these people. If you are like a music fan, then you'll be able to just be at a Taylor Swift concert on a random Tuesday. You know what I mean? And that's not something that's available to me, that was ever available to me when I was in Zim. Even with so much money, like you just won't be able to access those sort of things because of where you are. So I do love that, and it's just inspirational, and it's just a nice thing to do, just being able to like buy a ticket and the next thing you know, I'm at a show watching Coldplay. Like things that I used to watch on TV, I'm now able to be a part of. People went to watch People the other day. They had their bold caps on and stuff like that. These are things that I used to watch from a distance, and now I can choose to go to a People concert or just be like, oh, I don't really want to see People. There is a fly that is just going across my screen. Oh my god, you guys, we're just gonna have to share the screen with this fly. Let's move on to reason number 2. The patriotism. English people love the fact that they're English. Like the patriotism is absolutely amazing. It's nice to see people that love their country. You go into Primark and there's like t-shirts of England, and people are proud to wear their English shirts, and and it's just a nice thing. Like where I'm from, let's be honest, we were not taught to love where we're from. We were taught that we are inferior and we need to adopt what the West do. We were not taught to be proud of our own traditional outfits. It's coming up now. Like if you watch now, the kids these days are trying to be like love our own attires. Like in terms of like weddings, people in the rural squads are doing more traditional clothing and stuff like that. Back in the day, it was white wedding dresses. Why are we wearing white wedding dresses? And there's a common phrase, umuntu omnyama, like black people, like it's to say like we are inferior. The things that we do are not that great. If there's no, and that's colonialism that came into play for that. And then there's also the issue of us focusing on the major issues. Like right now we're focusing on like potholes, we're trying to get better, we're trying to get solars, we're trying to get there's bigger problems in the country. So there's not a lot of funding that goes into small things that brings the country together, like football, for example. Zimbabwe wasn't in the World Cup. I couldn't even support them. I couldn't, there wasn't even an opportunity to be patriotic and stuff like that. Whereas England will be there and, and they're still there. They're still in the semi-final, and you can support that, and you can feel, and it just brings people together because everyone at work is talking about football. You go home and, and it's not just football. It's like the Olympics. They will have people in the Olympics or Eurovision or whatever. They will have like people that are representing their country, and it's small things like that bring the country together that I cannot really have, because our country's just not focusing on things like that. We're focusing on, we've got bigger problems, and we're just sort of focusing on, fixing the political climate in our country and stuff like that. And our minds are still deeply colonized, and we're slowly learning, trying, and it's good that immigration is it's exposing people to the world, and people are starting to learn to love the country and more, as you can see. But like it's something that's creeping up slowly, and that patriotism hasn't hit where it needs to exactly. I love that they have got a reactive government. What do I mean by that? People here complain and something happens. Keir Starmer has recently resigned. The UK has had, I don't know how many prime ministers resign in the past year or so. They've got so many prime ministers that have switched up. And why? Because they've got a reactive government. Whereas where I'm from, there is not, people will complain and people sometimes sort of give up on doing protests or speaking up and stuff like that, because people don't really feel free to speak up anyway. But people give up because nothing happens. Whereas here, people speak and something happens. Now, don't get me wrong, the UK has its problems. They've got their own forms of corruption. They've got their own, but like, they've got a reactive government. People have been unhappy with Keir Starmer. They've complained and something's happened. Whether that's a good thing that he's left or not, I can't speak to that. But I can say, something happens. People speak and something happens. They've got a reactive government where it's like, people are not happy, so we need to do something. And that's just an amazing thing that I've never seen happen, because I've seen a couple of protests back where I'm from in my day, but nothing happens. It's just, things just sort of continue the way they are. We've had right now in Zimbabwe, they are increasing the length for the president to stay in terms, and this is happening in a lot of Tanzania. Was it Tanzania? Was it Namibia, where there's a female president over there as well, who's been reigning for time. Like, that's just most African leaders, they reign forever. And you don't see the reactivity of the government when people say that they're not happy. And for me, that was such a culture shock, to come to a place where people will be like, no, and something will happen. 4, catcalling. Catcalling is really frowned upon. There is actual signs in the stations that says no to catcalling, and if you report somebody for catcalling, something will happen. The police will do something about it. Where I'm from, like, as a girl walking in the streets, you'd be nervous, because if you pass by a bridge and there's like 4 or 5 boys there, they harass you. They verbally harass you. They comment on how you look. They comment on what you're wearing. They call you ugly if you don't react to them and stuff like that. Whereas here, like, I can just, like, I still see myself right now. Like, the other day I was walking in the park, and there was a group of boys that were smoking, and there was like 6 of them, and I started feeling the anxiety because of where I'm from. Like, I started feeling the anxiety, and you just pass boys. Boys are scared to do that. Like, of course, there's like the disadvantage of that. It's now to an extent where boys are scared to approach girls, which is terrible for dating. That's a different topic. I'm gonna make a separate video about dating. I'm gonna try and make all those videos today because I'm off today, but that's a separate topic, because it's now to a point where people are scared to like approach people, and it's bad for dating. But at the same time, like, there is a peace of mind if you're wearing, like, you can wear your little bum short, you can wear your little skimpy dress, and just, walk around freely in the street, and there's no one harassing you, and there's no one trying to. And the boys back home are quite aggressive with it sometimes. Sometimes they'll grab your hand, sometimes they'll grab you and they give me your number, and they're just all up in your face. Whereas the boys here, the catcalling is frowned upon, and they know that there's consequences for it. Like, if I went to the ZRP, the police in my country, and be like, oh, this boy's grabbed my arm in the street, or he's called me names because I didn't give him my phone number, or he's commented, and we've seen people being harassed for wearing really short things. Like, the police ain't gonna do nothing. Then, oh my God, they might even interrogate you and be like, well, why were you wearing something short? Like, that's the reality of where I'm from. Like, they'll be like, why? Well, maybe you should have worn something short. And we've seen this happen. It's not, and that's not something that happens in the UK. Like, if I were to report someone for catcalling me and making me uncomfortable, that's a thing. Whereas at home, it's like, if you report a crime that's uncomfortable, it's just like, it's uncomfortable, whatever. Like, they don't take that seriously. And that's just one of the reasons why I love being in the UK. The last reason, I'm gonna just do these 5 reasons and move on to make a part 2. So please do stick around and watch the part 2 on my page. The last reason is freedom of speech. Now, I'm not going to just talk about this on a political aspect. The freedom of speech runs deep. The children here say what they want. They say how they feel, which is something that wasn't encouraged back home. Back home, you're encouraged to keep quiet, keep your head down, don't talk back to your elders, which is a problem because at the end of the day, we have kids back home who are raped, and they don't say anything because they're not taught to speak up. Here we've got kids that will come up to you in the bus and be like, can you get up, that's my seat. A child, a 5-year-old, will walk up to a grown adult and be like, can you get up, that's my seat. They can walk up, they can say to their mom, you're making me uncomfortable. Now, that's that when we look at it from an African perspective. Now, I need to make a bigger video on this topic because I'm passionate about how confident people here are. Now, when we look at it from an African perspective, oh, they talk back, they're disrespectful. But do you know what? Like, it gets them ahead in life, right? Like, you're not abusing a child from here and expecting them to keep quiet. You're not, even in the workplaces, they speak up for themselves. You come into the workplace, there's a 20-year-old that is making everyone uncomfortable, making sure that they're setting their boundaries, and it gets them promotions, it gets them doors opened, it gets them respect, and they're treated with respect. They're not treated like people that are not supposed to be in the building because they speak up for themselves. It goes into the political spaces as well. They speak up if they're not happy, they go into the streets, they riot. And it's like, in all situations, speaking up is a big thing. But where we're from is like, we're flogged. We're straight up flogged for speaking up, right? Whereas kids here from a young age, they're taught to speak up and they're rewarded for speaking up. And I'm now at my big age, learning slowly to speak up. I'm in my big age now. I'm at work thinking, right, I need to speak up and stuff like that. Like, I need to speak up more because I was taught to not speak up. I was taught to keep my head down and just like, hope somebody notices that you're doing a good job. Hope somebody notices that somebody is being mean to you, which is not good because bullies will walk all over you. But kids here are taught to speak up, and it goes deep into the political system, which makes me wonder because Zimbabweans are known to be peaceful people, which is great, which is not that great when they have got a political power that is going against the wishes of the people. But that's engraved into the people from when they're children because they're not taught to speak up. It's like I always say we do not have enough riots in Zimbabwe. We do not have enough protests in Zimbabwe for what we're going through. And why? Because there is no freedom of speech where I'm from. If you speak up against the government, you disappear. If you speak up against your teacher, you get flogged. Against your parents, you might not eat that day. You might sleep outside. You might I'm sorry, that sounds terrible. But you get what I mean. Like, we're not encouraged to speak up. And I really like that I am in spaces now where people are speaking up, and when they speak up, things changes. They speak up in the line at the McDonald's. They speak up if the line is too long. They speak up, and then another till opens. It's small things. They always speak up. They speak up. Yesterday, I was in a train. The train was full. They spoke up. People added carriages, and people stopped standing and they went into the extra carriages, and it's so useful for me. Like, it's like, even when I'm not speaking up myself, somebody next to me is speaking up on my behalf. It's really useful because I benefit from that person speaking up, but at the same time it's encouraging me as well to be like, look what happens when you speak up. And and that's really it. And I just love that about this country. Now, I'll stop this video here. I'll make a part 2. Please watch this one and then go and watch the part 2. Tell me the things that you love about the UK as well, or if you're in a different country, these countries are the same anyway, Germany, Australia, wherever. What was one of those things that you're just like, it's such a small thing to people, but experiencing it for yourself was like, one, a culture shock. 2, it's such a good little thing that you just don't want it to be taken away from you if you were ever to move back home.